condos with some stores underneath that go, on both sides of the street, which would be huge. And I think the city would grow from that. They'd grow off of that. But I think we need to find that business that we can bring in to the downtown area that would make everything kind of grow off of that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that is. It's something that we need to work on.
Do you think that it would help stimulate these businesses to use that money?
Yes.
If you changed the rules?
What rules would you change?
Well,
I'm kind of interested in that because
instance-
that's a hard question without knowing what rules we're talking about.
When I asked this question of business people, why don't you use some of that RDA money? And they say, look, I have to pay out the entire full amount and then I get reimbursed either 50% or 75% after the project is done. And so it's very difficult for some business owners to put all of that money out front and then recoup it later. So, do you think it would help to change that around a little bit so that they didn't have to put the entire entire amount up front? Now, understand that, that's easy to,
I think there can be some work that way. The thing is we don't want to get in a situation where we put money out and it ends up not going to what it's supposed to go to.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, so
it's easy to
if we could work with
that.
Right, if we could work with some companies that we point blank, if we as the city said we are guaranteeing this if this scope is done, I don't have a problem doing that.
Yeah.
And I would vote to do that.
Yeah.
If that's a rule, if that's a change in the rules that would work, I'm for it.
Yeah.
I'm for it. So.
You mentioned that you were appointed to the Southern Nevada Health District Board of Directors. The question I've asked everyone else is, what county-based committees would you like to be appointed to if you're elected? You stepped up, and when you first got elected, you asked to be on the Health District Board. What you never expected to really use.
I'll take that a step farther. When I said I want to be on the Health District Board, I'm thinking food inspections.
Yes.
Oh my word, that's this much of that. We got a situation where we were in charge of making trauma designations for hospitals. Now,
whoa.
Yes, that's a far cry, whether it's a tooth or, what the trauma designation was for a hospital. I remember thinking, I'm a golf pro. So I attended a lot of meetings to learn a lot about this, and it's really interesting, the whole thing. And I could sit here and talk to you for 20 minutes on trauma designations, but I won't do that.
Okay.
But I did not know what I was getting into. I had no idea. And especially this COVID thing, what we've been doing with this. But still, I don't think people have any idea what this health district oversees. It's massive. Pools. Your pool here at Sunset Greens we oversee.
Yes.
And people don't understand.
And I'm not happy with it being closed, by the way.
I'm so sorry. But I think that you'd have to talk to the governor about.
Yeah, okay.
I do believe that Marilyn Kirkpatrick is a wonderful person. I just really like her. And I think she's trying to get a lot of this opened up.
And she's the county commissioner that represents us.
I love her.
In District
I absolutely do.
Yeah. The reason I asked that question, and this is probably as much for the public as it is for the candidates, is that it has become apparent to me personally and as a news reporter over the years that people are not aware at all of how much work goes into being on the city council, and that it's so much more than just a 2-hour meeting every 2 weeks. And so the reason I asked about the county-based committees is because that involves most times having to travel to Vegas once every 2 weeks on Thursday, if you're at the Regional Transportation Commission, you go down, what, every 2 weeks for Southern Nevada Health?
Well,
Or once a
the
month.
meetings are once a month, but there's
Yeah.
always other meetings in between.
Right. So are there any other committees you would like to be appointed to?
You know, I will.
There's so many of them, there really
Yes,
are.
There are. I will do whatever I'm asked to do. I do want to continue with the Southern Nevada Health District no matter what. But I would be open to any of the other committees. If I was going to, I don't know. Let's just say that I want to stay on the health district and
Okay.
any committee that they want me to work towards. I'd be happy to help with any of it.
Okay.
I mean, right now, there's really not any, I mean, there's a lot of great ones out there, but that's the one I enjoyed this one. I really do.
Good.
It's a hard one.
Yeah.
It's a really hard one.
Having to learn all those trauma levels.
Yeah, I'm telling you what and why and how and, you know.
Okay, what are your thoughts about providing workforce housing, and who should spearhead the effort? The city or the developers, or how?
Well, I think everybody needs to. I think the city needs to. I think the developers need to. I think that city developers, what was the other one you brought up?
Well, just
Everybody needs to spearhead.
public-private partner.
I think we need to, you mean as far as starting it? I think we all need to be looking at ways to get this done. And I do know that there's a lot of things that are on the horizon. You know, we had a study done, and it was one that was done between Mesquite Gaming and the city. And the study came back saying we are, just to take care of what we have now, we're 1,500 units short. That's a lot of workforce housing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have this 300 unit place going in by Ford if everything's still going to be okay with it, with all of this. I know that I'm working on one that I met on at least once a week for about 4 months that we're still working on, and it was getting pretty close come November, January. They want to have it going and up and running by November. But this really put a damper on it, and that was going to be 520 units. That's a lot.
A lot.
Yes. And I do know that Nevada Rural Housing Development has a huge piece of property down from, not huge, but it can do 200 to 250 units that's down from the high school above those fields. So if you look at all of that, that's a good start. Plus the stuff that they're building by the Maverick, there's some stuff that's going to go in on Hafen Lane. I was talking to another developer who had just completely abandoned his project, and he had one that was approved on Old Mill, and we talked to him, and this is a good piece too, because there's a problem with development services, and it cost him $10,000. And so I went to this guy, I talked to him, he says, why haven't you built? And he says, well, you know what, city cost me $10,000, and I'm not sure I want to move forward. So I work within the city, and we have decided that we will help him recoup those losses in the way of fees, permits, and things of that nature if he'll go forward with his project. And he's going to go forward with his project.
Good.
Now, it's been a hit for him too, everybody, with all of this. So we'll have to see what happens there. I do know that we've got builders in town, one in particular, that wants to get into building these types of things, and he wants to be an owner with it so that, you know, when he builds a house, he gets the money, he's done. He wants something with residuals. And that's the way to do that, and he really wants to do this.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of meetings with him, and on this 500 unit piece, he may be partnering in on that one as well. And I know that we need to work harder as a city too. I mean, I look at this is a good point that you bring up, because when we first started looking at this piece over by the Ford store, I know that Mr. Rapson, our Councilman Rapson, and myself were in a meeting where an HOA just was being really hard to work with. But we got it worked through. So that's one of those areas where you can say, when you say the city, it's not necessarily just the city.
Yeah.
So we all have to spearhead this, and we all have to work towards the end on getting some of this done. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's good. That's good.
All right.
Why should I vote for you?
Because I am short, and I've got red hair that you have some of. I think that kind of matches. That's not good enough reason for you?
That is not a good reason.
I golf, I know that you were a golfer. Actually, I would tell you that if you're going to vote for me, the reason I would suggest you vote for me is there's still some unfinished business. As you can see, there's some things that I'm working on that I would like to get finished up. And I really want to stay on and see these things through. And that's the reason I'm running again, is because I feel like I've still got some things that are unfinished that I really want to work towards.
Okay.
That's why you should vote for me.
Okay. Any other comments or issues or?
I think I've covered a whole bunch of them.
You have.
And I hope that, if anybody has any questions, please don't hesitate to call me.
Yeah.
Be happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Brian. I appreciate your time, and I think the public will too.
It's always fun, Barb.
Okay.